Hello everyone. This is Dhanlakshmi, Assistant Professor from 50 Department of RMD Engineering College. And in this session, I would like to discuss about flow meters, right? Where in the subject sensors and transducers, we were learning about different types of transducers. Under that, we also we will be learning about flow sensors, right? Flow transducers, we'll be learning. So in this session, I would like to discuss about flow meters. So in Unit 4, where we'll be learning about optical pressure and temperature sensors. So and also we're going to learn about the flow sensor, right? So in this topic, for this session's topic, I'm taking flow meter. We'll discuss about what is flow meter and what are the different types of flow meters are there and how the flow has been measured. And so the measurement of flow, where in all our day-to-day life, where we want to measure the flow of liquid or flow. So the very best example, what I could say is the petrol bunk, where we all have seen the petrol bunks, the flow meters are there, right? We want to measure the flow of liquid, right? So there are different types of flow meters available. So in this we'll be discussing certain types today. So one type, the first type I am taking here is the turbine flow meter, where in this turbine flow meter we can see that this is the construction, where in this turbine flow meter, where you can see there is a turbine setup is there. So this is the pipeline which is carrying the flow, which is carrying the liquid, right? Liquid is flowing in this pipeline, right? So the flow direction is this. In this way, the liquid is flowing where it is flowing inside this pipe, and here in this inside this pipeline where the turbine setup is there. Right, so here you can see a turbine setup is there. So and what happens is along with the turbine setup, a magnet is attached and it's actually a magnetic pickup coil type sensor. It's a magnetic pickup coil type turbine flow meter. So where it will be having a magnet and a pickup coil will be there, right? And the pickup coil is connected to the counter. So therefore, it will be counting the number of pulses. So when we take the working of this turbine flow meter, what happens is when the liquid flows, right? When the liquid flows in this, let's say for example, here it is now flowing from left to right. When the liquid flows in this direction, what happens? The flow of liquid will make the turbine to it will hit the blades of the turbine, and thus the turbine starts rotating. So the liquid will be hitting the blades of the turbine, and that will make the turbine to rotate. So as the turbine is rotating, so you can see that as the turbine is rotating, where the magnet is attached along with the turbine. So therefore, what a turbine shaft, and therefore, as the turbine is rotating, the shaft of the turbine will also be rotating, where the magnet is attached, and and all this magnet and the pickup coil is connected externally out of this pipeline. Right, so therefore, as the rotor shaft is rotating, as the turbine shaft is rotating, along with that, the magnet will be rotating. As we know that when a magnet is rotating, what will happen? Obviously, we will be getting a rotating magnetic field, right? So initially, before the flow of liquid, since the turbine is static, the magnet is also static, where we have only the static magnetic field. But now, as the turbine starts rotating, what will happen? The magnet is also rotating along with it. So once the magnet is rotating along with it, what will happen? And there will be a rotating magnetic field created. And this rotating magnetic field nearby that, where you have a pickup coil. So obviously we know that this rotating magnetic field will induce an EMF, right? It will produce an electric pulse. And this electric pulse is given to the counter, right? So this electric pulse is given to the counter. So based on the number of rotations, the electric pulse will be generated. And so this electric pulse is counted by the counter. So therefore, this counter value will be proportional to the flow. So this is how we are measuring the flow with the help of this turbine flow meter. So finally, the value of this counter will be proportional to the flow. So this is how it is working. So where you can see that the liquid is flowing and it makes the turbine to rotate, and the magnet is attached here. Magnet will be rotating along with that, and this rotating magnetic field is created. This rotating magnetic field is nearby your pickup coil, so that will induce a electric pulse, and that electric pulse is that pickup coil is connected to the counter, where it will be giving the electric pulse. So therefore, the electric pulse will be counted by the counter. So the final output of the counter will be proportional to the flow direction. That is flow of the liquid, not the direction, flow of liquid. Yes. So this is how the turbine flow meter works. Right. This is one type of a meter, where we'll go to the next type, where the second type of the second type of the flow meter is our electromagnetic flow meter. Where in this electromagnetic flow meter, you can see that in the electromagnetic flow meter, this is how the setup will be, where we can see that this will be having again a pipeline will be there, but this pipeline where the outer part, the pipeline should be a non-conducting one, right? This pipeline should be a non-conducting medium, and where the flow, the liquid, whatever whichever is flowing inside this pipeline should be a conducting one. So this is essential. So for this electromagnetic flow meters, we should have a non-conducting pipeline, and inside that non-conducting pipeline, we should have a conducting liquid, conducting fluid, right? So we should have a conducting liquid, essential. The conducting only for conducting liquids you can use this type of electromagnetic flow meters. You cannot use it for non-conducting, right? So for conducting liquids, you can use this electromagnetic flow meters where the liquid which is flowing here will be a conducting, will be in conducting type, will be a conducting type, and where outside this, the surface of this pipeline will be a non-conducting one, right? And at these ends, you can see the magnetic field coils are there. So when the magnetic field coils are there, when we excite it, the magnetic field will be created or magnetic field is produced. So when we excite this magnetic field coil, the magnetic field, like here we have the field coils, magnetic field coils. When we give the supply or when we give excitation to this magnetic field, then field coil, then obviously the magnetic field is created. Then if I have the magnetic field coils at these edges, at the opposite edges, I'm going to have a electrodes. Electrodes are connected, and from the electrodes only we're going to take out our output voltage. Right? So here the idea here is actually we said that this liquid should be a conducting one. So as we know that in the magnetic field, right, in the magnetic field region, if a conductor, here the conductor is nothing but our liquid, right? The liquid is a conducting medium here. So this liquid, when it is flowing, actually when it is moving, since the liquid is a moving, which is a conducting liquid, so the conductor moves here. Conductor is dynamically, right? Conductor is dynamic here, right? The conductor is dynamic where the magnetic field is static, right? So when we give excitation to this, the magnetic field is created. In this magnetic field region, the conductor is dynamic, which means here the conductor is our liquid. So since the conductor is dynamic, obviously we know that whenever there is whenever in the magnetic field, if the conductor is moving, we'll be getting EMF induced, right? And that EMF we are taking outside, and that EMF we are taking outside through these electrodes, and that is actually our output voltage, right? So this is how we can convert the flow into output voltage. We can convert the flow of liquid into electrical voltage, right? That's output voltage. So here this is the idea, and where we can where we can find out that the EMF induced, right, in the electrodes will be BLV, right? BLV. So where B is nothing but the velocity of flow, and P is the magnetic field strength, and L is nothing but the diameter of the flow, right? So therefore we can say that the EMF which is induced, at the ends of the electrode will be equal to BL. Since the conductor is moving, it is moving at a velocity of V, and the magnetic field strength of that field coil is nothing but our B, and the diameter of that pipe will be L. So based on this BLV, we have the EMF induced, and that EMF can be measured. So here, this magnetic flow meter is a volumetric flow meter which does not have any moving parts, and it is ideal for wastewater applications or any dirty liquid, which is conductive or water-based, right? So as I told you, this obviously the liquid should be conductive in nature, so it is applicable for wastewater. Any dirty liquid, it is applicable here. And same way, the magnetic flow meters, these magnetic flow meters will generally not work with hydrocarbons. So this type of magnetic flow meters, this type of magnetic flow meters will not work generally for hydrocarbons or distilled water and many non-aqueous solutions. So we have to look for, we have the magnetic flow meters are also ideal for applications where low pressure drop and low maintenance are required. So these are the constraints that we have in this electromagnetic flow meter. We'll see the third one, which is our hot wire anemometer. So we know that hot wire anemometer, where here the sensing element will be a wire. Right here it will be a fine platinum wire will be there, heated platinum wire will be there. This will be our sensing element, right? So actually in the flow, right, in the flow of liquid, we're going to insert this hot wire, and that is called as our hot wire anemometer, and therefore transfer of heat will be taking place, right? So therefore, in this hot wire anemometer, we have two types. One is our constant current type, the other one is constant resistance anemometer. So in constant current anemometer type, so as we know that anemometer will be having a wire, right, hot wire, where it is a heated wire, right, and that heat will be transferred to the liquid, stream of liquid which is flowing, right. We are going to place the anemometer inside that flow of liquid, and therefore heat will be transferred. So we'll see that whenever the heat is transferred, there will be a change in resistance of that wire, or that is called as constant current. So in constant current anemometer, current will be constant, there is a change in resistance. Whereas in case of constant resistance anemometer, the resistance will be constant there, and there is a change in current. So these are the two types of anemometers we have. So here we can see that in constant current anemometer where the current is maintained constant, right? So in the heater wire, so you can see that this is our hot wire anemometer where that is heated. The wire is heated here, and the current is maintained constant here. So as there is a flow of liquid, what will happen? The heat will be transferred, and once the heat is getting transferred, there will be a change in the resistance. And this change in resistance can be measured with the help of this bridge configuration, right? This change in resistance can be measured with the help of this bridge configuration using this galvanometer. As we know that whenever there is an unbalance in the bridge, the galvanometer will be reading. There will be deflection in the galvanometer. So that deflection is proportional to the change that will be proportional to the flow, because that is in turn proportional to resistance, which is in turn proportional to the flow. Right. So based on the flow, the heat will be transferred, and based on that, there is a change in resistance, and this change in resistance will have a deflection in the galvanometer, right? That is where here the current will be maintained constant. This is one type. Whereas in the other type, where that is constant resistance anemometer, here what they will do is once as the same thing again when the liquid is flowing here, again this heated wire will be transferring the heat here, and as the heat is transferred, again the resistance of the wire will be changing. But now, in order to maintain the resistance to be constant, we are varying the current, right? We are varying the current. We are varying the current here in order to maintain its initial resistance and temperature. So therefore, what is the current that you are compensating? That is, you are adjusting in order to maintain that constant resistance. This is proportional to the flow, right? So therefore, this is the idea. So here in this constant resistance anemometer, here also, whenever the heat is transferred, the resistance of the wire will be changing. But now, in order to maintain that resistance constant, the current will be adjusted, right? Current will be increased or decreased. It will be adjusted so that they will maintain its initial resistance and temperature. The current what is adjusted is actually the value that is proportional to the flow of liquids. Right? So this is how they use the anemometers, both your constant current anemometer and constant resistance anemometer for measuring the flow. Right? So in this flow meters, we discussed about turbine flow meter, then electromagnetic flow meter, then the hot wire anemometer. In hot wire anemometer, we discussed both the types, right? Constant resistance anemometer and constant current anemometer. So in constant resistance anemometer, the resistance has to be maintained constant, current will be varied. Whereas in case of constant current anemometer, where the current should be maintained constant and where the resistance will be, there is a change in resistance. So that is about the flow meters. So turbine flow meter, electromagnetic flow meter, and hot wire anemometer. Thank you.